Artist and tattoo artist to the stars, Friday Jones has decorated the bodies of the world's most iconic celebrities, including Angelina Jolie and Robbie Williams. Also toured the UK with the Queens of the Stone Age, and as her website says, adroitly served up secret favours for Rick James and Penelope Cruz. Nice to see you, Friday.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Are you a shy person? Not.
I'm actually behind these major artists, so I like to, tattooing's a little intimate, so maybe I'm a little shy.
Why tattooing?
I don't know why. I think I was caught up in a cultural movement that I wasn't even aware of in the early 90s, and it's progressed to this level today, so I think history will tell us why tattooing. What
makes a great tattoo? I mean, there's so many tattoos around, but there are some really bad ones too, aren't there? So what makes a great tattoo?
Well, it's one of the oldest art forms, if not the oldest. The caveman they pulled out of the ice had tattoos up and down his meridian, so those were probably rough tattoos, yes. But I think what makes a good tattoo is something that the owner can really identify with. I think that's the denominator right there.
Because the people think, and still do at times, although Angelina and other artists have now created that crossover, but they used to think it was just for guys.
It was just for guys.
If you're in the Navy or the Marines, you've got to have a tattoo.
Oftentimes, people who would get tattoos had little to lose. And like if you're going off to war, or you wanted something that no one could take away from you, like you were in jail. So it's progressed now, I think, to a generational progression. And it seems like the generation following the baby boomers really took it. Perhaps maybe they didn't have the marriage and the religious backgrounds that previous generations had. So they kind of identified with a tribal culture.
Which is interesting, tribal culture, and many women would say tribal culture with men sort of goes hand in hand. We're a bit Neanderthal at times, aren't we, guys?
That's why we love you, though, right? And I'll tell you, my good friend Lyle Tuttle, who tattooed Janis Joplin in the 60s, attributes the mainstream concurrence of tattooing to the women's movement.
Wow.
We got the pill and the ERA, and then financial freedom in tattooing seems to have followed.
And has the advent of more celebrities created this booming market in tattooing?
It's so fabulous because it's artists, truly successful artists. Even though they sell themselves to a mass market, mass media, they can still have that individual that no one else can maybe identify with but can't control.
So what sort of people have tattoos?
I'd say creative people. I'd say people who are risk takers, unafraid of commitment, absolutely. And maybe people who have an eye to the future, although people who aren't tattooed might think that ironic.
So when you're tattooing somebody, what are you thinking? I mean, what's the whole process?
I'm thinking I got to put the best possible tattoo on this person.
Take us through it.
Well,
because I'm actually getting sweaty hands at the moment.
I know you're getting excited.
That's terrifying.
That's okay, good, but that's part of the ride that we take being a tattooed person.
Is the word that they use first up ouch? Do they say ouch?
The first thing I think that people say is, it's not as bad as I thought. But truly, as a tattoo artist, my first line of concern is safety. We're working with blood.
That's scary. Sweaty hands again. Yeah.
No. Well, that's why you go to a trained, licensed artist, absolutely. And then the second is design. That's the second thing you can't come back from if there's 3 tiers. And then the third would be quality. But if you get tattooed by me and any other gifted tattoo artist, you won't have to worry about that.
What sort of ink do you use?
Well, those are ancient Chinese secrets, but I use a variety of inks, especially, like, for example, I use blacks from 3 different continents.
Why?
Often on one tattoo. So.
Is that your signature, or why?
Probably. It was something like I gathered from 18 years in the industry and working with masters all over the world, and I need a darker black for some aspects, say a line. I need a black that's going to give me a lovely gray shading for some of the more fully realized airbrushy effects.
Going right back to when you started tattooing, who has had the most influence on you, say from the very start to now?
Tattooing, I'd have to say Eric Inksmith and Robbie West, my masters. I did a 5-year, very medieval, very rigorous apprenticeship while I got my degree in philosophy, and I was a classically trained artist going into tattooing, and that gives you a little bit of an ego. going, I can draw. And tattooing traditionally was not an artist form, it was more of a craft form. So if someone can draw, say, your portrait by hand, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to put on a great tattoo that's going to last 60, 80, God knows, maybe 100 years now. So they were always rigorous with my discipline. And I had to do Tasmanian devils until my hair fell out, I felt. But I ended up making friends with the people who would get Tasmanian devils and doing the best Tasmanian devil I could do. And that served me so well.
How long does it take then for a tattoo?
I first ask you what tattoo you'd want to get and where on the body. So from there, then I would structure it and give you a timeline from that. So say you wanted your mom with a heart on your shoulder. The way I work, we'd have a private consultation. I'd map it out on your musculature, then we'd structure it. The tattoo would probably take you less than an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
That's it?
For a little mom heart.
Wow.
You want to get in and out of the skin. It's very sensitive canvas. But you know, I'm one of the only studios, I think I'm the only studio in the world that offers anesthesia. We have topical, local.
Good whiskey,
and
bad
oral.
whiskey?
We offer a glass of wine when you come to my studio. And we have anything from topical, lidocaine, to oral. If you need a Vicodin, my doctor will prescribe it for you right there.
Wow.
And local. We're completely blocked, completely numb.
It's sounding very much like a dentist at the moment. You're talking about injections. It's like...
Well, thank goodness, because I have to get licensed like a dentist, so I might as well be able to offer that to my clients.
Talking about body art, various parts of the body, is there a common thread there, or you get all sorts of wild...
We get trends. There's definitely trends in my industry, just like in many other industries.
So what's the trends now then?
Well, right now you're seeing a lot of Japanese. There's wonderful TV shows that everybody's so excited about. The artists are traditionally based artists oftentimes, where they're doing some of the old stencils like Sailor Jerry or Don Ed Hardy. Those sort of simple folk-driven designs lended itself to the Japanese masters, which is just kind of those levels but multiplied. So we're seeing a lot of Japanese.
You hear of somebody on the arm writing, my love always for Sue or somebody. And then they divorce. How do you get rid of it?
Well, conscientious tattoo artists like myself would structure the design to serve as...
So you could have a variety of names.
You could have at least an option, maybe that black snake or the butterfly, so you won't have to see that name anymore.
And do you get that often happening, that they're fallen madly in love and then a year later that they've moved on?
I'll be honest with you, darling. I like to have my partner's names on me. I'm not afraid of names. And I think it's one of the most romantic gestures you can do. Still, it's not that permanent.
So where do you have tattoos?
What do I have for tattoos? Let's see. I have so many. We'd have to do a little.
And who does your tattoos?
A lot of my friends tattoo me. I like the people that I know tattoo me. My boyfriend is a tattoo artist, very talented black and gray artist, a fine artist from a history of painters. He's a fabulous tattooer, so I get a lot of work from him.
Tell us about your tattoos on your hand.
Let me see. I have my favorite right now. It's my International Ladies Drinking Club. So you can see my little diamond.
Yes.
And I work in a salon and spa in Chelsea, and now my hairdresser and stylist friends are all members of the International Ladies Drinking Club, as well as some of my gay friends. So.
Because you when you started tattooing, first of all, did you ever think you'd be in this industry?
I'll tell you what, I thought I'd start tattooing as I was drawn to it, and I had worked hard in other mediums, in commercial art. I had a contract for the post office doing eagles for their merchandising. And I'd already had an experience as an 18-year-old in an art room, and I already was familiar with the corporate structure and how my life as a commercial artist would progress in this fame. And I had to drive cross-country to college, and I wanted something that was going to help me connect with an individual but still performing a service in art. And it came to me out of like a bolt. And I went to Jacksonville, Florida, and I did a 5-year apprenticeship there. So I'd never thought tattooing would come to this level, and I'm so excited it has. When I would re-emerge into corporate life, I did some web design for General Electric and Lexus. It still hadn't changed, but when I got back into tattooing had changed exponentially.
So from there to now, it's been a great ride for you, and just getting better and better. I mean, you're becoming almost the celebrity tattooist to the stars. Has that excited you?
Yes, it's so fabulous, mostly because they reach so many people. And if the way I see my work as service, as helping people, inspiring people. Those artists, Angelina Jolie, Aaron Neville, Robbie Williams, any of them, Janeane Garofalo, they do so much. Janeane especially does, and Angelina does so much work as outreach and consciousness changing. To be a part of that, even in a small way and in a very intimate way, is tremendous things exciting.
Tell us about Penelope Cruz.
I can't tell you.
No, you can.
It's a secret. No, I can't tell you.
Just whisper.
I did a tattoo on a family member of hers, and he was yes. He designed it himself. That's all I'll say. But
I'm not going to go there at all. That's very. If you notice, I'm lost for words almost now.
That's how I
because
go.
my imagination is just going crazy.
I know. Rick James is even spicier, but that's part of the privilege of working with celebrities. Is you mum's the word.
But it's no good if you're cold.
I know, and I probably would have gotten more attention quicker, but I like the way it's progressing, slow and steady. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, I can't wait. Where do you see your future? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
Well, I'm coming up with a line of skincare, of tattoo healing products, which I'm really excited about. Our industry is very disparate in its techniques, and I think that there's a big future for natural products for healing tattoos and extending the life of a tattoo. So I'm very excited about that.
So a tattoo has a life?
Oh yeah, just like you.
Wow.
You want to make sure the tattoo is designed and produced well, so it ages again into the decades. So
when does this product come out?
I'm getting my sample pack this week. It should be here today or tomorrow, and then we're branding and pushing it. Which
will be absolutely fabulous.
Which is so fabulous. And we have a book out, the Tattoo Source book from my company Tattoo Finder. The first book from a major publishing company, HarperCollins. It came out in September. HarperCollins UK just wanted to do its second printing in Europe. And HarperCollins didn't think it was going to go anywhere. And it's already only 3 months, second printing. So we're excited.
You must have an amazing family. You have a sister who's an author.
Yes.
You have yourself who's just out there.
Out there.
Yeah, doing some great things.
I'm the oldest child, yes.
You're very shy too, I can see.
I'm very demure,
yes, that's
very
right.
retiring.
Love the hair.
Thank you so much, stylist again. It takes a village. Thank you, Zach Anthony Salon, Lee's Veterinarian. My brother's Top Gun, just made Top Gun 6 months ago.
Wow.
So he's the only boy. And so our fighter pilot father, who is a Pentagon
So what about
guy.
your folks? Do they say, well, we've got a daughter who's an author, a son who's a Top Gun,
and then,
we have
and then there's Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Then there's Friday. How would they describe you?
I think they describe me as very creative. I'm sure they would say talented and with the wherewithal to do whatever I want. And that's all.
Have you given your folks a tattoo each?
My little stepmommy might, she's my little Latina stepmama, and she might get a Rosita.
Whoa.
We'll see.
Okay, in 10 years' time, you've got all your product out. Can you see yourself doing anything else? I mean, you also dabble in the internet and stuff, so I
do design. That helps with the communication. I see an accredited institution having a tattoo program. That's what I see, and I'd love to head that up.
Which would be fantastic.
It worked for printmaking and it worked for dance. I don't see why it couldn't work for the oldest art form ever.
How would you describe yourself in a word? One word.
Artistic.
Artistic. It's been fabulous chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
Could we just see one more of your hand before we finish? It's just absolutely beautiful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Go Dolphins.